So the other half has asked for a bigger television, and I keep telling her that you can just get closer and it'll look bigger, but she's not having it. That's what they all say anyway. And so I'm here at Crampton Moore, which is a retailer based in Yorkshire, where the staff has done an extremely good job fitting all these TVs, shiny new televisions, in time for Black Friday. And what I'm going to do is to go through some ranges that I'm familiar with, point out the strengths and weaknesses of these TVs, and give you some heads up of which one will be the ones to look out for. What I'm standing beside is the LG B9, which is the entry-level OLED TV from the South Korean brand for 2019. And what is attractive about LG's 2019 OLEDs, not only their OLEDs and also their nano-cell LED LCD as well, is the full-fat HDMI 2.1 chipset that is available on these televisions. You will get the whole variety of HDMI 2.1 features, including VRR or variable refresh rate, ERRC or enhanced ARC for lossless audio transmission through the ARC channel. You will also get ALLM or auto low latency mode, and most importantly for PC gamers out there, you will be able to get 4K at 120Hz gameplay as well, maybe with G-Sync compatibility on certain sets. But the LG B9 will feature a lower level chipset compared with the step-up C9, E9 and also the W9. And the chipset that is available on the B9 is the Alpha 7 Generation 2, whereas the chipsets that are available on the C9 is Alpha 9 Generation 2. Now, in my opinion, even though this is undoubtedly a great television, with the only thing lacking in terms of picture quality versus the C9 is probably going to be some slight loss in gradation, near black, and also throughout the color range. I think if you can find that extra £200 or £300 to afford the C9, you should do it, because when LG engineers try and develop a firmware in the future, let's say for the 2019 OLED range, they will be prioritizing the C9 or those TVs with the Alpha 9 Generation 2 chipset. We have seen this time and again over the past few years. I remember that B6 was the last one to get the HDR game mode firmware update compared with the E6 and also the C6. And even last year's B8 is still suffering from some shadow detail crushing with the near black prominence overshoot deterring fix, whereas with the C8 and also the E8, LG has rolled out the firmware update to restore the shadow detail. So from that point of view, I think if you can find the extra money to afford the C9, I think you should always try and choose the C9. And talking of which, we should just go over to the LG section and look at the C9 here. And this is the LG C9 in 77-inch screen size. It is probably going to be the most affordable 77-inch OLED on the market in 2019. And I expect a very healthy discount on Black Friday. And if you want the most substantial discount, you will need to make phone calls to the Crampton Moore stores. I think the phone numbers are on the website. Just mention that you either saw HDTVTest, or you saw Vincent, or you saw that Oriental or Chinese chap online, and then they will understand and try and give you the most discount possible for this television, and in fact any other television in the store. And below the 77 C9 is going to be the LG E9. Now, I reviewed this quite recently and I really dig the picture on glass design, and also I am really impressed by the sound quality from the soundbar. I think it is an upgrade over the C9 certainly, and I think that if the price difference between the E9 and the C9 is say less than £300, then certainly there would be an argument to go for the E9 because it obviates the need for an external soundbar. In terms of picture quality, the C9 and the E9 will be using the same Alpha 9 Generation 2 chipset, And so I expect them to have a very similar picture quality. They will be using the same 2019 WRGB OLED panels, so there won't be any difference in picture quality outside of panel to panel variation, but you are basically paying more for the design and also the sound output of the E9. And next, we are going to walk here and look at some Samsungs, and I am sandwiched between some of the more affordable QLED televisions from the South Korean brand. And on my right here is the smallest and also the cheapest 2019 QLED TV from Samsung. This is the Q60R. Now, in terms of features, I don't think this will have the most advanced picture technologies that the South Korean brand can implement on their higher up range. So in terms of the panel, it is only going to have a 60 Hz panel. The backlighting system is HLED and it will have quantum dot technology. But if you want better picture quality, you will have to fork out more for the higher ranges, and the next step up is going to be the Q70R here, which will have full array local dimming, and I believe that the number of local dimming zones is going to be around 50, giving more zonal control. But another step up from the Q70 will be the Q80R here, and this will have additional anti-reflective filter. Basically, it is like a black hole that can just swallow all this ambient lighting here and make the picture pop without any reflections distracting from your viewing experience. It will also have the ultra viewing angle technology that uses a combination of a viewing angle compensation film and also subpixel rendering to widen the viewing angle at the slight expense of contrast performance. But I think most people who purchased 2019 Samsung QLEDs with viewing angle compensation film and also subpixel rendering genuinely don't see this from a normal viewing distance, and they just appreciate the wider viewing angle that is generated by these two technologies. And next, what we will do is to move on to the flagship 4K range, which is the Q90R here, and this is a genuinely impressive LED television, and I believe that it's probably going to be the best LED LCD television on the market in 2019. It will have 480 local dimming zones, it will have the wide viewing angle technology and also the anti-reflective filter that makes it such a joy to watch, especially in showrooms like this. And just below it, you can see a Q90R. I don't know why Samsung named these two products the same, like Q90R for the TV and Q90R for the soundbar. When people search on Google, you know, if they wanted to find the soundbar, they'll be seeing the telly instead. But I digress. You know, on Black Friday, I expect these products, all these Samsung televisions, to get some discount as well. So if you want the best deals, make sure that you phone up Crampton Moore. Go to their website, find their phone numbers of your respective local stores, either Doncaster, either Sheffield, either Leeds or Harrogate. Remember, they also deliver these TVs nationally, so you can be down in Cornwall, you can be up in Aberdeen, they will still deliver it to you. So make sure you call them, mention HDTVTest, and they will take care of you with great price and services. And yeah, Samsung has been extremely big about 8K as well, and I'm standing beside, presumably, is the 75-inch Q950R. Now, Samsung hasn't sent me a Q950R to review, so I don't know what the picture quality is like, but I presume that it will have the same number of local dimming zones, around 480. It will have 8K resolution, but whether you can appreciate it from a normal viewing distance and also with the generic lack of 8K content at the moment, it makes it a slightly more difficult sell compared with the 4K Q90R. So I think that wraps up the Samsung section, and we're just going to move away to the Sony section. So I'm going to be standing in the middle here, and on my right are the LED LCDs from Sony, and on my left are the OLEDs. So let's start with the LED LCD. I'm standing beside the XG95, this is the 75-inch version, which means that it will be using the viewing angle compensation film to give you a wider viewing angle, and it will be a full array local dimming set. Now, some of you people out there, and I hear this mostly from ZD9 or Z9D owners, saying that they value the contrast of the ZD9 so much that they wouldn't want a viewing angle compensation filter put on their set, which will degrade the contrast slightly. But what is known so far is that, let's say if you have a VA type LCD panel and you sit from a normal viewing distance on a 75-inch screen, because the screen is so large, the sides, the left and right sides of the panel is going to be at an angle relative to where you sit anyway. So you may see a slightly brighter picture on the left and right sides with elevated shadow detail, with a loss of color on those sides. So from the point of view of maintaining color fidelity across the entire screen, the viewing angle compensation filter is actually fairly important, especially when you place it on a VA type LCD panel. And that is the key reason why, let's say, Samsung and Sony are investing and developing and implementing the wider viewing angle technology on their VA LCD. They want to maintain the color fidelity and also the video fidelity on larger screens. And let's face it, these days screens are getting larger and larger. But I digress. This is the XG95, and on top there is the XG90, which only comes in a 49-inch screen size, and basically both of them are essentially the same, but the XG90 won't have the wider viewing angle technology, the wide viewing angle compensation film, because its screen size doesn't really warrant it. So off axis you can see a slight color shift and also elevated blacks as well. But let's talk about the OLEDs, because I know that's what most of you are interested in, especially from Sony. And Sony themselves seemingly probably have given up on LED LCDs, except for the really high-end 8K ZG9, which Crampton Moore does not stock here, and I don't expect any discount on Black Friday anyway. But let's talk about the top OLED here. Not the top OLED as in the OLED on the top, which is the AG8. Now, I haven't reviewed the AG8, but it is going to be very, very similar to last year's AF8. So in terms of the number of HDMI ports, there will only be 2 full-fat HDMI 2.0B ports rather than the 4 that is found on the step-up AG9. And in terms of the panel, in terms of the peak brightness, and in terms of the dynamic tone mapping, it won't be as good as what is found on the AG9 flagship series. And the AG9 falls under the Master series, which means that it seeks to mimic the color accuracy of a mastering monitor, namely the Sony BVM X300 and lately the HX310 LED LCD. So they have implemented an autocal system together with portrait displays, which can get the picture to mimic a mastering monitor. And in terms of the peak brightness, it is not going to be as high as, let's say, the Panasonics and also the LGs, but the dynamic tone mapping can compensate to a very effective degree with HDR10 content. The weakness of Sony OLEDs is mainly their low latency Dolby Vision implementation, which causes Dolby Vision content to look a bit darker than, let's say, the TV-led Dolby Vision implementation on the Panasonics and also the LGs. But in terms of discounts, I would expect the AG8 to be the one to look out for if you can put up with only 2 HDMI 2.0B ports. And I don't really expect much movement on the AG9, but again, you'll have to monitor the sites and call Crampton Moore up to see whether there are any healthy discounts to be gained near Black Friday. And let's move on to the final section then, which is Panasonic. Last but not least, we come to the Panasonic section here, and I'm going to be standing beside these LED LCDs and also these fantastic OLEDs. And On my right here, this is going to be the GX800, and I expect Black Friday to be really generous in terms of the pricing of the GX800. So if you're interested in these sets, you should give Crampton Moore a call to get the best discounts. But I haven't reviewed many mid-range and entry-level LED LCD, but I genuinely believe that the GX800 is going to be the best of them because of a number of factors. First of all, it will support both Dolby Vision and also HDR10 Plus dynamic metadata technologies. Secondly, it will have an extremely low input lag of 15 milliseconds, and also the out-of-the-box accuracy is actually good considering that you don't need to do much, just put it in the cinema or through cinema picture mode. And I really like the dynamic tone mapping technology for HDR10 content, which can compensate somewhat for even the very low peak brightness of around 300-400 nits, because on most entry-level or mid-range LED LCDs that I see, when they have a peak brightness of around, say, 300-400 nits, they usually blow out a lot of specular highlight detail, actually, especially in 4000 nit content. But because of the dynamic tone mapping technology that is implemented on the GX800 series, it can actually seek to retain the specular highlight detail in a more consistent manner that can sort of replicate the creator's intent. So I really like the dynamic tone mapping on these sets. Obviously, these are HDTVs, these are 60 Hz panel, these won't have local dimming, so they won't be able to compete with the best full array local dimming LED LCDs or OLEDs. But then again, you're talking about a set that is extremely affordable and comes in very small sizes, 40-inch, I think 50-inch, 58-inch, and also 65-inch versions. And I'm going to talk about the GZ OLEDs then. And here we have the GZ950, which in my opinion is probably the OLED TV to buy in 2019 if you have a limited budget, because it will support both Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus, and it will have some of the cleanest near black, because among all the OLED manufacturers in 2018 and 2019, Panasonic is the only one that has actually detected and addressed the near black chrominance overshoot issue. So the 2019 OLEDs, including the GZ950, won't be suffering from near black flashing artifacts even in poorly compressed content. And as with most Panasonic TVs, the color accuracy is going to be right up there out of the box, and also after calibration as well, in conjunction with the portrait displays calibration software. It's just extremely competitive in terms of pricing already from launch, and maybe on Black Friday there will be even more discount. And then what we will be looking at is going to be the GZ2000, which is the flagship OLED. And what this will give over the GZ950 are basically the Custom Pro panel, which has additional heatsink to clear up any image retention in a faster manner than any other OLED we have tested to date. And it will also be able to hit a higher peak brightness of around 900 nits compared with the 700 nits that are found on Panasonic's GZ950 and also any other 2019 OLEDs. So the GZ2000 will be able to reach around 900 nits, thus lessening the need for tone mapping up to 1000 nit or even 4000 nit content. And with the recent firmware update that Panasonic has issued, they have also resolved the crackling in certain content and boosted the bass response of the soundbar. So it is going to be an expensive set, the GZ2000, but if you want the best never comes cheap. But the GZ950 certainly is going to be my pick for the best value for money in terms of the OLED television this year. And hopefully Black Friday will bring more joy to some of you prospective buyers out there. And that wraps up my look, a very quick and generic look at all these TVs that are available in Crampton Moore in preparation for Black Friday. And even though Crampton Moore has guaranteed that they will beat the prices of any authorized reseller, I have to get out of here and consult my other half before committing to any purchase. That's the excuse I normally give to any sales staff to walk out of the store to get the pressure off me anyway. Just blame it on some third party. But if you have found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTVTest YouTube channel for more videos like this. Happy hunting on Black Friday, and remember, if you want the best prices, please call Crampton Moore on the phone, who have been kind enough to let me film this video here in their fantastic shop.